Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for a community conversation. My name is Audrey Lau, and I am the Adult and Senior Services Specialist with the Prince George's County Memorial Library System. With me today as co-hosts are Kyla Hannington, also with the Office of Human Rights, and Tiana, who is the brains behind our show today, is backstage, and she will be helping us as well. Thank you for putting together this program, Tiana. Community Conversations is a partnership series between the Office of Human Rights and the Prince George's County Memorial Library System. And we use this time to introduce you to all individuals and organizations who are doing important and interesting work in the county and the region. Today, we are delighted to welcome Zaran Gabriel Mowatt with the Maryland Department of Human Services. Zaran is an Outreach Liaison Ombudsman with the Maryland Department of Human Services, where they specialize in community outreach and engagement to promote the awareness and accessibility of DHS programs. In this role, Zaran works closely with local organizations and stakeholders to strengthen community ties and ensure that vital resources reach Maryland's diverse population. Zaran holds a Bachelor of Arts in International Studies from the University of Miami, where they developed a strong foundation in cross-cultural communication, global policy, and community advocacy, skills they now apply in their work to support Maryland's communities. We also have with us Tina Clark, who is one of the Ombuds people with the Department of Human Services. She works specifically with the governor's inquiries. These are escalated issues that have not been able to be resolved at an earlier stage. And one of her efforts is to assign cases to the rest of the team to ensure quick closure. She also works on the department's social media to answer questions from people on that platform. Tina will be joining us later, but she's backstage right now. So Maryland DHS is the state's primary social services provider, offering support through programs such as food assistance, child welfare, energy and housing support, and services for vulnerable individuals and families. Its mission is to help Marylanders achieve and maintain self-sufficiency, safety, and stability. Zaran, it's wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Audrey. I really appreciate you all having me here today. And thank you as well, Kyla, for planning all of this and getting us all here on the call today. So, can we go ahead and put my slides up? Thank you so much. So, as Audrey graciously introduced me, my name is Zaran Mowatt, and I'm an outreach liaison for the Constituent Services Office. Our office is a branch of the Office of the Secretary for the Maryland Department of Human Services. So, moving on, a question that we get quite a lot is what is the Constituent Services Office? I know that DHS is a large organization within the state that basically houses a lot of programs. A lot of different programs and offices fall underneath us, but the office that I particularly work with is the Constituent Services Office. So the Constituent Services Office is kind of a unique place because it's really a support and a customer service hub within the Department of Human Services. So if you can kind of think of us as like DHS's like customer service center if you want to think about it that way. So really what makes up our office, we have two sides. So the side that I'm a part of is outreach. The other side is ombuds. So our ombuds team are the ones who really make up the heart of CSO. They handle case escalations and also customer inquiries from the public. So if you may have an issue with one of your state benefits cases, or perhaps it's held up, or you're not exactly sure, you need some guidance as to how to move forward with your case, the ombuds team is there for you to help you guide you through that process. And we have an incredible team. Many of them have years and years and years of experience working with us, working for the state, and they really know these programs really well. And they're just a great resource for Marylanders and the public to really get an idea of how can they help move their case and move their process along. So, as well as we described at the beginning of the talk, we have one of our senior ombuds here today. Her name is Tina Clark, and she's backstage. And at the end of the talk, we're going to make sure that she sticks around so that she can answer any of y'all's questions that you may have for us about any of our programs, about CSO, about the ombuds team, or anything else that you guys might need help with. So, in addition to the Ombuds team, we also have a community outreach team, which I'm one of the lead liaisons for. So that's kind of on the customer side. How does community outreach connect to our ombuds? I'm basically another touch point for the public to be able to reach. So we've done events at libraries, we've done events at community centers, senior centers, activity centers. We connect with nonprofits to do events with them, homeless shelters. We do events with county officials, with Maryland, other Maryland state agencies, of course, and of course, we do events with our incredible local social services offices. But as I was saying, basically, we're another touch point so that the community can directly get in contact with our office. If you were to see me out at an event and you're like, "Hey, Zaran, I've been having issues with my case. How can I, get some more information on that?" One thing that we've implemented this year is instead of having paper inquiry forms where you would write down your address, your name, maybe your case number if you have it, or other information about your case, like what program you're trying to get resolved, before, we would walk around with a sheet of paper, everyone would write that down, and that became a little bit cumbersome, as you can imagine. And so we've recently updated now to a Google form in the form of iPads. So now we can take the iPads out to events and directly get customer inquiries in that way. So it's made it a little bit more smooth in terms of getting those customer inquiries from an event directly to our Ombuds team, and then from there, they will handle those customer inquiries and whatever issues that you may be having with your case. So we really want to make sure that all of our Marylanders have equal access to our office, that they know that we exist. I think that's maybe one of the biggest issues is that when I go to events, they're like, "I didn't even know this was a thing. I had no idea," and that you guys are doing this service. So that's also why I'm here today to let folks know that this is something that we do offer, and that if you're having issues, you do have somewhere that you can turn. So I'd like to move on to our next slide. So this is so as I spoke about before, DHS offers a lot of programming. There are a lot of offices that fall underneath our office. So this is a list of the services that we offer. So as you can see, we have the most popular program that mostly everyone knows about, which is SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. We also offer energy assistance, assistance to families and children, temporary disability, temporary cash assistance, child support also falls underneath us, child welfare. We also have a transportation assistance program. Children and youth services fall underneath us, so that's foster care, adoption, kinship care, adult services, so the Commission on Aging, and a lot of senior centers work with us pretty closely. We also do workforce development, and we also help with medical assistance. So as we walk through the slideshow, I'll go more into depth about each of our programs, but that's pretty much a good highlight of the range of services that we provide here at DHS. So moving right along, the next question a lot of folks ask is, well, how do I apply? So I see the services that you guys offer. What is the best way for me to apply? So the ways that you can apply are by mail, by fax, or other electronic means, or so that could be email. So you could get a paper application and mail it into your local Department of Social Services. You could email it into your local department, or you could go online to marylandbenefits.gov and apply there. And generally, there's a 30-day processing period for all applications. I do think the energy assistance program might be 45 days, but for the majority of our programs, it's about a 30-day processing time. So in the past, our website to apply for benefits used to be called md.think. So maybe some of you guys might be familiar with md.think, but we've since changed it to marylandbenefits.gov just to make it a little bit easier for folks to remember. You can think about it. Oh yeah, this is the place where I get benefits from for Maryland. Easy, very easy to understand and to remember, right? Okay, so moving right along. I'd like to talk to you guys a little bit about our universal benefits application. So I'm really excited to share this with you all. So this is our new application that we have on marylandbenefits.gov, and basically what it is a one-stop shop. So you can go to that one application, you can apply one time, and it's also designed to be mobile friendly. So if you're using it on a phone or if you're using it on a tablet, it's designed to be easy to read on those type of devices. And it's also written in plain language so that it can help so it can be easier to navigate for folks. So with this new application, you can apply for, like I said, you can apply one time and you will get all of the programs that you qualify for once you've applied. So it'll let you know all of the things that you qualify for, all the programs that you qualify for, all in one place. And I think that we're the only state, or we're the first state to do this. So, this is like a big deal for us. We're really excited to be able to roll this out for everyone. And as you can see on the screen, this is a screenshot of marylandbenefits.gov. So this is going to be exactly what you see when you go to that home page of marylandbenefits.gov. So if you go all the way to the right, you'll see it says apply for benefits. So you'll just click that blue button at the bottom there where it says apply, and that's how you'll begin your application process if you're trying to apply online, right? And if you're on a mobile device or like a tablet, you're going to want to scroll down because it's not going to be horizontal, it's going to be a vertical view. So just scroll down until you see that apply for benefits page and click that blue button to apply now, right? So moving right along, for those that might need paper applications, right? So maybe you're going to an event, or you have a family member who's not very internet savvy, or maybe you're in a place that doesn't have great internet access even, or you want to bring these out to your community members, your local sports group, your local meetup group, whatever it is, and you want to bring some paper applications with you. This is how you're going to access it. So if you see that link on the screen, it is dhs.maryland.gov backslash business dash center backslash documents backslash forms. Okay, so that's the link that's going to lead you to where we have all of our documents, all our DHS documents for the public are on that link. So I know when you navigate to that link, it's going to be a little bit overwhelming because you're going to see a whole list, a whole grouping of all those little red file cabinets. It's going to look like those little icons, you know what I mean? So just to make it a little bit easier for you guys, there is a search bar at the top there. So you will see a search bar right where it says forms. There's going to be a search bar right underneath that. So in that search bar, if you're looking for applications, right? Applications for food stamps. We have one application for basically all our programs, which is our FIA, which is the Family Investment Administration application, right? So in that search bar, you're going to want to type FIA dash application, okay? So that's going to make all those long list of file cabinets shrink, and you're going to see what you're seeing on the screen right now, which is a screenshot for it once you type that word in. So you're going to see two PDFs pop up, and the first one that pops up is going to be the FIA application in English. Now, if you're not an English speaker, there's also one in Spanish. So if you see right underneath that in the Spanish, where it says Spanish next to that red file folder, you're going to see another link for the Spanish application for FIA. So like I was saying, the FIA application basically covers most of our programs, but it does not cover energy assistance. So if you're applying for energy assistance, it's a separate application if you're doing paper, right? If you're doing a paper application. So it's the same exact method to find those paper applications for the energy assistance program. You're going to go right back to that search bar and you're going to type in the following, okay? OHEP dash application, right? So that's OHEP, which is the Office of Home Energy Program. So that's what it stands for. I know we have a lot of acronyms over here at DHS. So OHEP dash application, you're going to type that in, and it's going to bring up the exact same thing as the FIA application, but for the energy assistance application. So it's just gonna, once you click that link where it says PDF, it's just gonna pop up in another tab for you, and you can download it, you can print it, you can share it with your community or however you might want to do it. And like I said, they have English and Spanish versions, and I believe they have other languages as well. So that is the best way for you all to access those paper applications, right? Okay, so just moving along, I would like to get into a little bit more detail about each of the programs that we do offer. So the main one that we offer that everyone knows about, I think many people are familiar with, is SNAP, which is a supplemental nutrition assistance program. So it helps provide food for families and individuals that are struggling with food insecurity. Um, it's one of DHS's most popular programs. It's currently assisting over 600,000 households across the state currently. Okay, so moving right along, after SNAP, probably our second most popular program is our Energy Assistance Program. I know that over the summer we also had BG&E had a fund also that you could apply for, but I think it has since been closed. But look out for that as well next year if you guys are looking for, if it's those hot summer months are coming up again. So, because that's something you can apply for in addition to our energy assistance program with the state. So, like I said, OHEP is the acronym for the Office of Home Energy Program. So, the OHEP program provides income eligible households help with their utility bills. So, it's a grant. Basically, you're awarded every month to help go against your utility bills. It can also help preventing utility shutoffs, restoring lost energy service, assisting families in paying past due electric bills. So one thing that is important to note, you can you can only apply once per calendar year, but technically you can apply twice because you can apply again during the crisis months, and those crisis months run from November to February. So that's during, our cold season. So in case something happens to your home, you have an issue with heating your home during those colder months, you can also apply again for energy assistance during that crisis month period, right? And also important to note about the Office of Home Energy Program, it renews every July 1, which is our fiscal year when it starts again. So that's when the grant is renewed. So if you can apply as close to July 1 as possible when the funds are there, that's probably your best bet to get accepted into the program. If you're income eligible, that's probably your best bet. I know that if you were to apply in June, right, that's kind of our freeze month where they're going over the budgets, they're renewing everything for the next year. So they're probably just going to hold your application if you apply during June, just so you guys know, okay? And they're going to hold it until July when the fund renews again. So if you want to apply for the previous year, you'd want to apply in May and not in June, right? Because once July hits, it's the next year, if that makes sense. Okay, so moving right along, we have also we offer the emergency assistance to families and children. So this is a fund that provides emergency cash assistance to families with children under the age of 21 who are facing a crisis and are needing immediate help, right? So some examples of emergencies that can be included in this are like a flood, a fire, a major theft, if you're dealing with domestic violence, or perhaps you might have the loss of a major appliance. So this is not an exhaustive list of what constitutes an emergency. The local department is going to make the determination of what constitutes an emergency, but just so you guys can get an idea of what sort of things may fall underneath this fund, that kind of gives you guys a good idea. Okay? So moving right along, we also offer temporary disability assistance. So this is TDAP, another acronym I know. Temporary disability assistance program, right? So this offers cash assistance to Marylanders who have little to no income and who are living with short-term or long-term disabilities. So this support helps individuals while they're waiting for approval for federal benefits. So if you're waiting for SSI and you need help in the meantime, this is the fund for you. So these benefits are available for up to 12 months within a 36-month period unless you're actively pursuing SSI, in which case, if you are pursuing SSI, support may continue until you receive that SSI. Okay, so also moving along, we also offer temporary cash assistance. So again, this is going to be for families with children, okay, who have dependent children. In order to qualify, you have to be compliant with all your child support requirements. So any fees, any child support orders or things like that, you have to be in compliance with in order to receive this. But besides financial help, TCA also helps connect participants with employment programs so that they can be independent moving forward. Okay. Also, we have TDAP and we have TAP. So TAP is our transportation assistance program. So, as you can imagine, people have issues with their cars or might need some help, some extra help with things like that. So we have a partner within the state which is called Vehicles for Change. And basically, if you're an eligible family, it helps you all get a used vehicle so that you guys can get to work, get to school, medical appointments, or whatever it is that you might need the vehicle for. And these vehicles are yours to use for up to 2 years or 24,000 miles, right? So you can check out more about that if you go to vehiclesforchange.org. Okay. Also, the department does offer workforce development. So we are working with partners at the federal, state, and local level to build some strong career pathways for folks who are unemployed or underemployed across Maryland. So we offer a great range of employment opportunities for folks, and I know also the Department of Labor does amazing work with that as well, and we partner with them very often. They do a lot of job fairs in the community as well. So definitely look out for some of those if you're interested in workforce development. Okay. And also, like I said earlier in the slides when I went over that list of our highlights, the Child Support Administration also falls under DHS. So the Child Support Office handles all of those child support cases and they work with custodial and non-custodial parents as well as guardians to ensure that children receive the financial support that they need, right? So it's really to make sure that the children are getting what they need in the situation, that it's a fair situation for both parties, for both the custodial and non-custodial parent, and that child is receiving the support that they need, right? Okay, so moving along. Now, medical assistance. Medical assistance, I feel like, is probably maybe the most confusing thing at DHS because some of it falls underneath DHS and some of it doesn't. So DHS's part of the medical assistance is we support individuals who are over the age of 65, who are eligible for Medicare, as well as people, so they can be children or adults who are under 65 who have been determined disabled by Social Security. Also, once someone becomes eligible for Medicare, we also assist with Medicaid eligibility. So that's also something that we provide. Something that folks may not be as familiar with that we provide is that we have a dedicated long-term care unit, and we have long-term care specialists at DHS as well, in many of our local offices, and they help folks who are experiencing any type of health issue where they need specialized nursing care for more than 30 days. So if you or someone else needs this type of care, you can reach out to your local department or reach out to us at DHS and ask about long-term care waivers. Okay, so that's something that we also offer. Now, for those who don't fall into any of the categories that I previously mentioned, that would be mothers, individuals who are pregnant, foster youth, or anyone else who is looking for just standard health coverage. We would encourage you to visit marylandhealthconnection.gov. So MarylandHealthConnection.gov is managed by Maryland Health Benefit Exchange, and that's basically the central place where you can apply for health coverage in the state. So it provides information on eligibility, programs available, and all of that is through the Maryland Department of Health. So I know a lot of folks are like, oh, does DHS do medical assistance or does the Department of Health? That's kind of the distinction right there. The Maryland Health Benefit Exchange is through the Maryland Department of Health. So DHS kind of acts as the liaison right there. So we help guide medical assistance requests and we will forward them to the Department of Health if it's not something that we do. So if you ever feel unsure about it, you can still reach out to us in the Constituent Services Office to help you guys navigate that. So yeah, that's a little bit about our medical assistance that we do. Okay. So now you might be wondering, how can you check if you qualify for services? So this is something else that we've recently just rolled out. So we have the Maryland Benefits Screener. So this is also located on the front page of marylandbenefits.gov. So remember I said you could apply for benefits on this page. You can also check your eligibility on this page. So in that center block, it will say what help can I get, right? And there will be a blue button at the bottom that says check eligibility. So you'll click that blue button and it's going to lead you to a questionnaire. And the questionnaire is designed to be easy, it's designed to be quick, it's designed to let you know what is an estimate of your potential eligibility for any of our programs that we offer. So it can give you a good idea of whether you would be accepted or whether you would get those benefits or not. But I always tell people I still encourage you to apply, always encourage you guys to apply, even if the benefits checker may not say that you're going to get the benefit, because at the end of the day, it's DHS and also the local departments that are going to make that determination whether you guys are going to get that benefit or not. But like I said, the benefits checker is a good, quick, easy way you can like go through it and see, oh, maybe I didn't think I was going to qualify for this. Oh, I actually might qualify for this. And then you can go ahead and apply. But it's right there on the marylandbenefits.gov website, as I said, and it's right there in the center. And it's just, what help can I get? And then you click that blue check eligibility button. Okay. So here are some important documents to remember when you have your interviews or when you get to that stage or when you're going to apply. So these are the most important documents to remember, right? So you're going to need your social security card. You're going to need the social security cards or the social security numbers of everyone that lives in your household, okay? So you're going to need some proof of identity. So you're going to need, it can be a Maryland state ID, it can be a passport, it can be a work ID, it can be a driver's license. You just need some proof of identification, right? Also, you're going to need a proof of income. So that can be your most recent pay stubs, your benefit letters if you're receiving any assistance from other federal programs, if you're receiving SSI, if you're receiving disability, if you're receiving Social Security, veterans benefits of any kind. Those things are going to have to be lumped into your income that you're receiving. You're also going to need a proof of address. The only caveat here is if say you don't have an address, right? Or you might be experiencing houselessness or you might be experiencing insecurity with housing, right? You can still apply. I don't want that to be something that, keeps you guys from applying because you don't have an address per se, but you can still apply. But if you do have an address and they're requiring, to let you know where you live and to prove that you live there, you can bring in your lease, you can bring in a utility or water bill, a phone bill with your address on it, rent, a statement or a mortgage statement. Any of those things will be able to prove your address, right? So for some programs, you're going to need proof of your household expenses. So if you're spending money on utility bills, your electric bills that shows the company's name, a receipt or a written statement of your childcare costs, your real estate tax bills, hospital bills, doctor bills, all those types of things that you're spending money on, because that's going to show that you have a need for one of our programs, right? So if you're applying for the emergency for children and families, emergency assistance for children and families, you're going to need some type of proof of the emergency that you're going through, right? So if you're about to be evicted, you're going to need a proof of that eviction, an eviction notice. If your utilities are going to be cut off, you need some proof of that utility shutdown notice or things like that. So you just want some sort of proof of the emergency that you're dealing with. So also, if you're applying for TCA, which is temporary cash assistance, some proof of the childcare expenses that you're spending, that can also help because it's also going to decrease the amount of income that you have, right? Because you're spending money on helping out your kids or helping them with childcare costs. So that's something to keep in mind to bring as well. And if you're applying for medical assistance or if you're applying for temporary disability assistance, definitely a medical statement from your doctor or your medical provider is definitely going to be something you're going to want to bring. And then also, if you're applying for energy assistance, you're going to need your most recent electrical or heating bill. So that with your address on it, your name, those types of things. So this is not an exhaustive list of everything that you will need, but this is the main highlights of the things you should keep in mind when you are going in for your appointment or your interview, okay? Okay. And this is something I wanted to add as well. If you're currently receiving benefits, one thing you want to make sure that you keep up with is your redetermination because countless times I've seen it where folks don't keep up with their redetermination or it gets lost in the mail or the sauce somehow and they are unable to continue receiving benefits. And that shouldn't be, right? So, redetermination, what does it mean? It just means they're going to re-review your case and make sure no major changes have happened since the last time you applied. So, it's a form that is sent out every 6 months, okay? And you'll be notified by physical mail and you'll also be notified by email. So, the form, if you receive it physically, you can turn it into your local department. Like you can walk in, you can give it, or you can make an appointment and give it. You can submit the form also via email to your local department. You can also complete your redetermination online through your portal. So if you've done an online application already, you can sign in there and you can upload your redetermination and your documents that you'll need for your redetermination. Another way is over the phone. So at our call center, which is 1-800-332-6347, you can call in and do your redetermination over the phone as well. So something to keep in mind when you are uploading these documents, sending them an email, fax, however you're going to send them to your local office or online, please, 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 I want to stress this for you guys. Make sure that your pictures are clear because I don't want you to get denied because someone can't read your documents. You know what I mean? So that is just something I definitely want everyone to keep in mind about your redetermination. So that form is the Maryland Benefits Review Form. We call it the MBR. So again, that form is sent out every 6 months. So make sure you stay on top of that if you want to make sure that you don't have an interruption in services. Okay? And just right now, I would like to go over how to contact us and how to get more information about the things that we offer that I discussed today. So you can call our DHS statewide call center. Again, that number is 1-800-332-6347. You can visit our website, dhs.maryland.gov. And on our dhs.maryland.gov website, you can send us an email via the Contact Us page. You can go ahead and type it in there and we'll receive that. Also, you can follow us on Facebook. You can send us a Facebook message through Messenger. We do read those, you guys. We do read those messages. Our Ombuds team is amazing. All those customer inquiries that are sent through our Facebook, they are reading them and they are getting back to you about that. So if you go to facebook.com/MD Human Services, that is our Facebook page, right? And then for benefits and services, if you would like to apply, you're going to go to marylandbenefits.gov, okay? So not MD Think anymore. We are marylandbenefits.gov, okay? And you can always, always, always visit your local department. You can make an appointment with them. You can fill out your application with them, and they can definitely help you with your case to walk through those challenges that you may have. But as always, you can contact us at CSO, the Constituent Services Office. Our Ombuds team is here for you all as well. And like I said, a great way to contact our Ombuds team is through Facebook Messenger. They do read those messages, okay? So that's all I have for you all today. Thank you so much for listening to my talk. I hope this was informative for everyone. And then we're going to stick around a little bit longer because, like I mentioned in the beginning, we have Tina Clark here. She's one of our senior ombuds, and she's backstage right now, ready to answer any of your questions. So thank you all so much. Thanks.
Thank you. That was a fantastic, that was an absolutely fantastic presentation. It was so informative and interesting. Thank you so much. We actually have already got some comments just thanking you for providing us with all the information and noting that it's so needed. And then again, it was very informative. So thank you.
Welcome.
Why don't we, so again, for people who are watching, please, if you have questions, we're going to ask a few questions ourselves, but as you're listening, please feel free to type questions you have into the chat. We'll share them with Tina and Zaran. So please type. But really quickly, I'm going to start by just asking you, Zaran, and let me know if we should bring Tina up too.
Okay.
Sometimes people I know are reluctant to access supports. They're reluctant to apply. They think they don't deserve it. They're not. They think that maybe that would be gaming the system. They don't want to take advantage. And so I'm wondering, when you're out there doing outreach, and because we met you, actually, our colleague, as you know, Tiana, was so great at connecting with you at a tabling event. Do you find when you're out doing outreach that you experience like reluctance from the public, or you're finding it difficult for people to make these kind of applications?
So when I'm out in the public, people, I get all types of folks. Some folks are reluctant, but then others might take the information and then bring it to their church group or bring it to their family or their friends. Sometimes they'll take information for other people in their community, not necessarily themselves. And so that's something I try to lead with when I'm doing events and people are asking me about what is it that DHS does. I let them know what we do and that if they want to take information for themselves or others. So it doesn't put them on the spot so much. So maybe they do want to take it for themselves and maybe they're embarrassed and don't want to say that, right? So I kind of lead them with that. Take this for your friend, take this for your family member, take this for someone in your community that might need it, even if they are the ones that need it. You know what I mean?
That's right. Thank you. And I guess Audrey, do you have a question? Because I can keep going. I don't want to.
No, I was just kind of curious because this is just one of those things. I spend a lot of time on the federal government's web pages for student loans and things like that. So I guess you talk both about the universal benefits application and the paper applications. And I guess my question to you is, which gets faster response? And like, if I file a paper application, like what kind of wait time am I looking at?
You know what? Let's bring up Tina for that. It's a good question.
Hello, everyone. To answer your question, I would say the electronic is the most efficient way to submit an application. The application process is up to 30 days. Now, a lot of times it depends on if you submitted the prerequisites: ID, social security card, birth certificate, proof of income or non-income, and just that general information. If you haven't submitted that with your initial application, it will delay the process, which could go over 30 days. A lot of times they send notifications out to constituents asking for that information and giving them a specific date to send that information in. And sometimes if that information is not sent in by the due date, then the application will be declined for incomplete information.
And does that, if it's incomplete, does that count as your one time, or can you resubmit?
You can always resubmit. Even if you submitted most of the information initially and there may be one or two documents that you have not submitted, as long as those documents are submitted within 30 days. then your application can be reinstated and you don't have to begin the process all over again.
Okay. I just wanted to let everyone know, if you don't know, that the library does have a lot of resources that can help you with that in terms of helping you use a computer, but also scan those documents, take those photographs, upload them into applications. We have lots of computers at all of our branches. So please remember that we are a really great location for doing that type of thing. Go ahead, Kyla.
Well, actually, I got a text question. So excuse me while I read from my phone. Somebody texted me and said, you mentioned English and Spanish applications. Are there resources for people speaking other languages that may need to fill out these applications? But that's going to be part one, because we also have a question from a viewer that I think is going to overlap nicely with this, or sync up nicely, where the viewers also was. We have somebody who's wondering about language supports, and we have somebody who's wondering about supports for people with disabilities. This question says, do you help people with disabilities access your services, as they may be reluctant because they don't know how to maybe ask for those supports or fill out the form? So language and disability supports, do you have those?
So we do have a language line that works with customers. If you walk into the office, irregardless of what your language is. So we do provide assistance.
What if someone's trying to work online? I'm not trying to set you up. I'm just trying to answer the question.
You're fine.
If it's online, like, do you have a Google Translate version, or is there a way people can access the forms in other languages online?
I believe so. Don't quote me on that. I'll have to do some research myself, but I do know it is available in Spanish. A lot of times, if you call the customer service number, they will send a message to the local office or either to CSO, and we'll make sure that constituent is assistant, whatever language it may be.
Okay. So thank you. So for those listening, that sounds like coming into the office or phoning are probably the best ways to access services in other languages. And then what about people with disabilities?
Zaran?
Well, I did want to answer the language question. So actually, if you guys go on that website, so remember when I was talking about the paper applications, actually we do have a very, very long list of languages that they offer that application in. So English and Spanish are just like the most common languages, so those are the ones that pop up first. But if you do go on that same link that I sent you all, and you click on FIA forms, right? It's going to bring up an exhaustive list of all the languages. I'm looking right now. It's languages that I've never spoken or knew know much about. So we have Arabic, Chinese, English, Farsi, French, Korean, Russian, Nepalese, traditional Chinese, Vietnamese. So there's a lot of languages on there that you can get the application for in other languages. Yeah.
That is super, super. Thank you. Did we get it? Did we get a question to the? Did we get an answer to the disability?
The disabilities question.
I guess in what capacity? Do you mean like coming into the office? Is there accommodations?
The question just says, do you help people with disabilities access your services? This is from a viewer. So maybe if you have is there a general answer? Or is it something that the person in question maybe should just phone the office and try to get those supports?
Well, I'm sure that we do.
Okay.
I was going to say we don't, as long as you're a Maryland resident, we're not going to turn down anyone that wants to apply for services. But I do know that the Department of Aging does do, depends on your county, because I've worked with different counties. I've only been in Maryland for 6 months, you guys. So, but
I've been amazing.
Yeah, I've been all over. I know for a fact that Washington County has their local office. Go in there, and they're there like once a month, so you could walk your parent or if you're a caregiver taking care of an elderly parent, you can go to the Department of Aging. The Department of Aging has MAP coordinators. So I would say get in contact with your local Department on Aging, get in contact with your local MAP coordinators, because they can maybe be a better liaison for you and your parent, especially if you're navigating some other tougher issues, perhaps, or with healthcare. Like I said, only some of medical assistance falls underneath DHS. So I know a lot of elders are asking about Medicaid, Medicare, and those type of questions. So I would definitely say get in contact with your Department on Aging for those.
while we're talking about, I'm sorry. Thank you both so much for answering those two questions that I gave to you at the same time. But those questions from viewers has made me think, I had some questions. So I'm not from the United States. And so as you were presenting, I realized that I just have like a lack of maybe base knowledge. And I want to address that, because for all the immigrants out there, to try to maybe pull away some of the layers. So some of the things that you're talking about, in my mind, I think that these are federal government services. And yet I'm hearing that we should go to the state to get, so I'm just hoping you can provide clarification for those of us who are immigrants and not as familiar with the system. Are these state programs or federal programs, or do we apply through the state in order to access federal programs? Can you just provide some clarification?
Everything that we've discussed today is a state program. So all the offices I've discussed, all the departments that I've discussed are Maryland-specific state programs. So as long as you're a Maryland resident, you can apply. As long as you're a Maryland resident, you can go to your local Department on Aging. You can go to the Department of Health. All of those departments are for Maryland residents in specific.
I thought SNAP was federal, so you can understand why I was confused.
Federal. Okay, I see. Yeah.
So SNAP. So I'm not trying to, I just like, this is not really about me. It's about sort of viewer who's like, maybe I should apply for SNAP. The way to do it is through the state. Is that correct? That's okay.
That is correct. They are federal programs, but they're administered through the state.
Okay.
That's meaning that they're backed by federal funds.
Exactly. There you go.
Yes.
Okay. That really, I think, helps maybe clear things up for people who, like me, were maybe a little confused about that. And then the last question I have, and I'll give it back to Audrey, is speaking of SNAP, and some of these other programs, are we seeing impacts to those? And is there any residents should know about maybe impacts as we have a changing priorities in terms of funding some of these programs on a larger scale?
I'm like, maybe Tina, you can speak to the changes.
I know there are changes that will be phased in within a 3-year time frame. Some of those changes have already begun in July. Some other new changes will come into effect on October 1st. A lot of this funding will come from the state. Like, for example, different states have different names. SNAP is one of the programs that is through USDA. And there is an ABOD, which is able-bodied working person. And so basically, if you don't have a disability and you're able to work, those are some of the programs that are going to be affected by this change in this new mandate come October the 1st. So there will be different requirements. They are publicly known requirements. They will, some of the things that are affected are like the ages, how old you are, how old you have to be. There are a lot of work requirements that have been implemented that were not pre-existing. And so those changes are also on our website and being released momentarily.
I guess my question then is, how do you advocate? Are we seeing a loss? Like, should we be concerned? Do we need to call our senators and congressmen? Do we need to advocate on behalf of these programs? Because I know that these are really life-changing for a lot of people, and really are the difference between surviving and thriving. And so I was just curious if that's something that you see or that you're feeling.
I agree. We do receive a lot of requests. People do write to the governor's office, to different senators and different delegates making their requests known. I don't know how effective that will be because, again, we are backed by federal funds. The money that Maryland puts up comes from Maryland taxpayers. So that also helps the programs continue to run as smoothly as they are. But I would always encourage advocacy.
Definitely.
I'll go back to another immigration question. I saw, Zaran, that when you were presenting, you were talking about needing to have a social security number. So there's all kinds of visa statuses, of which I have been on several of them, where you're here lawfully, but your visa class does not allow for a social security number, like a J3, for instance, J2, J3, H3s. but you're still raising families, you're living, you're trying to survive, but you don't have access to a social security number. Are these programs accessible to people who are here lawfully but without social security numbers?
Like maybe Tina, you can answer that because I'm not sure about that.
So some changes are going to take place with these programs, specifically with refugees. They will no longer have access to these programs.
Okay,
So
so
yeah,
there
there are
was
going to be,
okay,
there was
right.
programs available for immigrants, but when we get to refugees, they will not be available for these programs.
Okay, and all right, and so okay. And then I have another social security question, and then I'll give it back to you. Again, this is from it's from our colleague Tiana, who again I want to give credit to you for putting this together because it's such an informative, important program. Tiana, I believe this is from Tiana. There's a question about if someone has lost a social security card, for example, but was told by the Social Security Administration, "Hey, you actually don't need the new physical card if you know your number." If you're trying to apply and that's you, right? You know the number, but you don't physically have a card. Is there still a way to apply?
For SNAP and medical assistance, you don't need the card. You don't need the card, but you just need the number for those.
Okay, thank you.
If you have the number, you can still apply.
Great, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to ask about the vehicle service, because I think that is really cool. Can you talk a little bit more? I mean, you talked kind of roughly who applied, but can you talk a little bit about how much of a difference that kind of a program makes for people?
I know, well, from what I haven't seen someone specifically use the program that I've like personally know, but from what I've heard about the program, it has been very beneficial and really life-changing for certain folks that didn't have a vehicle before. A single mother who needed it. That these are things that I've heard from other folks about the program, and I've heard that the program is really successful in that way.
Because I have to wonder if I would have been eligible when I was going through school and didn't have much of an income. Like, this seems like a really great way to be able to do a lot, rather than to have to constantly rent cars to get
Yeah,
yourself around and
absolutely.
things like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, from
It's
what
a
I hear, it's
huge
huge.
program.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was excited about that one, and it was just like I didn't even know it existed, so it was like amazing to hear that. And the other thing I really appreciated hearing was your encouragement that people go ahead and apply, even if the eligibility checker is like, maybe not you, that you just go ahead and make the application. That was
Yeah,
great.
definitely.
Yeah.
I agree.
We
We are
always,
very proud. Oh, go ahead, Zaran.
oh, I was gonna say we always encourage folks to apply. That's the best way to know. You'll never know unless you apply. But again, Vehicles for Change is just an amazing program. Like I said, I've heard amazing things about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have another question, Audrey, or should I keep going?
You can keep going.
Okay, because I feel like I have so many. Okay, is there a way for a person to appeal if it's so? And I think you touched on this, but could you go into a little bit more detail? Like, if it's determined, like I make an application for benefits and I get a letter back saying I don't qualify, what are my appeal rights and process?
Like
So
maybe you
you
can.
do have a right to appeal that process within 30 days. The appeal process could take up to 90 days. You can appeal by phone or you can appeal at the local office if you're there in person. You can also appeal by contacting the 1-800 customer service number.
Yeah, everyone has the right to appeal, so anyone can appeal any decision that we make.
All right, thank you. Are there any tips? I guess you want to provide more information to prove that you should be able to qualify, or is there anything you're looking for in an appeal?
Well, it depends on what the specific situation is. Some people
Okay.
may want to appeal the dollar amount they're receiving on a monthly basis. Some people may feel that their expenses weren't calculated. Of course, during that appeal process, it would be encouraged to bring all of those documents in so that you can make a case for yourself. And then the appeals person will make that determination.
Do you guys have more questions for us, or how are you feeling?
I feel like we might be just getting right to the end of time. So I think I'm just going to, but this is amazing. I mean, we have lots of, we can always ask questions, but I also want to be mindful of everyone's time. So I'm going to give it over to Audrey.
Okay.
All right. Well, I want to say thank you. Unfortunately, we are out of time. This has been a great presentation. I have learned quite a bit, and I feel much more knowledgeable about what you all do. And I feel like I have some friendly faces and people who are going to be, on the other end of that phone call or application process. So I just wanted to say thank you. To our guests, thank you so much for being with us, for sharing all this information about the Department of Human Services, and for the work that you are all doing to support and elevate the lives of Maryland residents. For all of you tuning in, whether watching live or tuning in later on demand, thank you so much for spending your time here. You are why we do what we do, and we hope that you've learned something helpful. Please visit the Maryland Department of Human Services at https://dhs.maryland.gov and via the links we've been putting in the chat and via MD Human Services on all social media platforms. And please visit our library at pgcmls.info and the Office of Human Rights at civilrights.mypgcmls.us to learn more about the work that we are all doing, including upcoming events. We hope to see you all soon. Thank you so much for being with us. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Bye-bye.
Bye.